aside from the 2D games and costumes that reference the older games. Hopefully we get a look at what the Zelda team is cooking in the next year or so. Is Link going to wear green in the next Zelda game? After the launch of Breath of the Wild, there was a large number of people who were annoyed that Link abandoned his traditional green tunic for a blue one. This design choice wasn't even a full-fledged decision. I sent a Gen 1 Pokemon all the way to Generation 9 on the actual hardware. I picked up the Squirtle from Officer Jenny in Pokemon Yellow and went straight to the Cable Club. Using the time capsule in Pokemon Crystal,
Use the breathing techniques I taught you. They will ease the pain.
I love this game.
Let me tell you the story of the Ink and of the champions who came before you. Before the Restoration, as the other clans strayed and disbanded, a merchant sold us a secret. He led us to a flower whose petals burned with toxin. Put the toxins in your skin, and you will gain great and strange powers. But those powers will drag you into madness. That is why every champion vows to end his own life before he destroys himself. And the clan he swore to protect. We must act quickly. Count Karajan is the head of Hessian Services. He is responsible for the attack on our clan. His tower stands behind ring upon ring of security. You must kill him before he can attack again.
These buildings are protected by high-tech tripwires, but you can wreck them all with a simple bamboo dart. The main transformer should be nearby. Destroy that, and you'll bring down all the lights. For a time. Watch. The alarms switch off when the guard walks past them. Or when there's drag past them.
False alarm, I guess.
I'm pretty sure you can go pacifist, but it's all good.
The transformer should be close, but be careful. The catwalks are crawling with guards.
Damn it. That's okay. Try again.
The transformer should be close, but be careful. The catwalks are crawling with guards. So far, so good.
Equipment failure overloaded the grid. Repair crews looking at it now.
Remember, if a guard is blocking your way, you can try to distract him.
Wait. I think I heard something. I swear I heard something. Guess I'm just hearing things. What is that?
Once everything sounded good, I bounced them all out into separate pieces. These pieces were then put into Fmod, where I layered them back together, the levels. And at the dawn, the difference being, now I triggered all the layers. Maybe. Wow, very cool.
Let me tell you the stories of the birth of the mighty Hisumu clan, from the time of our first and greatest master, Tetsuji.
I tremble before Tetsuji, greatest ninja of Clan Hisumu.
Whoops. During one particular playtest of this encounter, I realized we might actually have a shot at accomplishing the goals we wanted to with Ninja. The playtester Alex had never played Ninja before, but he resolved this encounter in a way I'd never anticipated, but was totally consistent with the systems we developed. Specifically, he took out one of the guards and used his body to disable the lasers and escape without ever killing the power. Totally valid, but I never thought of that as an option. My mouth literally hung agape as I realized we might just have reached the density of systems where players would be able to resolve situations in valid ways. The designers hadn't specifically planned, given a major goal was providing that levels of players directed choices. It was very edifying moment. Alright. That is pretty cool. How would he get the body up there, though? Maybe they changed it.
Why isn't anybody answering the radio?
The blackout is working. While the guards fuss over that, we could slip right by them.
Early development of this area introduced a new opponent type that we called civilians. They wouldn't be dangerous or aggressive in any way, but if they saw the ninja, they'd shout and make noise, potentially drawing genuine dangerous guards. In this area specifically, they were repairmen fixing the power outage that the player had caused. The design notion seemed sound, a non-aggressive enemy that draws others, more dangerous enemies. We even added a score penalty should the player kill them. They were implemented and mostly functional, but just never ended up being very interesting. They were basically boring guards that didn't really change the way the player behaved. We removed them, although we were able to reskin them and reuse some of their animations as the player's ally ninjas in the first and final level.
Hey, someone out there? Someone there?
Because our world is 2D, some lighting concepts are hard to translate. Light shouldn't go through walls, but what about through stairs or catwalks? Should a flashlight always cast light through stairs, or only when a guard is looking behind them? We don't want a swinging flashlight to suddenly reveal the player unexpectedly from the other side of a room, as they will feel unfair. At the same time, guards should be able to intentionally shine their flashlight behind stairs and through catwalks, otherwise they appear unrealistic or just inept. We went back and forth of these issues a lot and tried a variety of combinations before settling on the final behavior in the game where the guards need to actively look behind these platforms for their light to shine through. Brooke Miles. What's down here?
No sign of target over here. Nothing here.
Stay alert. A man in black rags was spotted on the ground.
Hessian's troops are scouring the grounds, but we can sail right over them. Meet me on the roof.
Master accepts any student with the wit to uncover him.
This area is a great part of this level, sneaking and or dicing your way through each floor with the threat of getting caught escalating as it gets closer to the lights coming on. When the first went in, it was fun, but didn't have the feeling of tension that we wanted with the first time limit of the lights coming on. At that time, we had a regular game music playing, and it was just playing it flat. So over the weekend, I took the music pieces that we had composed and reworked them with some additions into building the track that lasted the length of time the player had before the lights turned on, and built on it in a way that it translates, in the way that it transitions into regular combat music. That kicks off when the player's detective. This really drove home the feeling that something bad was going to happen if you didn't keep moving.
We gotta turn the power back on one floor at a time. Turning the power for the 15th floor back on.
Hello.
To keep from overloading the grid, we gotta turn the power back on one floor at a time. Turning the power for the 15th floor back on.
Better get Aiden to check out
Damn.
Better get Nina to check out that route.
Turning the power for 16 back on.
Is that
You're almost there. So is the repair crew. Keep moving.
Uh, 18th floor, power's almost back on.
You're almost at the roof.
Turning the power back on for 19.
Easy.
We made it into the complex. This way. Karajan must be close. But we still need to locate him.
Okay then. Good talk. We started with our level creation tools from previous games, so we had a lot of tech immediately available to use. In addition, among other tool features, we created a special smart tilling system to allow large swaths of reusable level art to be placed quickly in all. This allowed level designers to get a reasonable feel for levels far faster than in previous games. However, this had a toll on our tool code. In-house code for the level tool alone numbers roughly 100,000 lines. An additional 12 lines made up of our FX tool, another 9,000 of our UI tool, and another 5,000 of our animation markup tool, and of course there were other tools as well. Okay.
Time for some acrobatics.
Oh
Use your
yeah.
chain to lower yourself until you can jump to that ledge. Steer clear of the dogs. They can sniff you out even in the darkness.
The design purpose behind the dogs was to have an enemy that could sense the player even if they were in darkness. They couldn't immediately detect the player though, as this would feel grossly unfair. So we did a 360-degree smell radius that will lead to dogs closer to the player, and the dog will detect the player when they get close enough. Funnily enough, this worked extremely well. Even though the dogs aren't actually that dangerous, playtesters were always on edge when they saw any dog appear. How do I get around him?
We smelled an intruder. Must have been him. Where is he? Hey! Can I find him?
Keeley's office is located across the street from United Front Games, who were developing the game Sleeping Dogs around the same time that we were working on Mark of the Ninja. While discussing this at lunch one day, it occurred to us that we ought to have the recently added guard dog to Mark of the Ninja and haven't put any sleeping dogs, so we did. That's sick. Oh, fuck. Whoops. Oh, snap. I don't want to do that. Oh.
I wish the lights would quit the weird flickering. Yeah, I keep seeing people in shadows. Hey! Shit! Fuck. I heard that. Show yourself.
They're locking the doors. Try to pick the lock.
Putting together level art, I often find myself working with the designers to go over the functionality of the space and how to best communicate this visually. We spent a lot of time making sure all the climbable surface were instantly recognizable to the player, white highlights, and that interactive objects like doors and hiding spots caught the player's eye while still blending in with the environment. That's not good.
These poems tell the story of the mission that made Hisumu a legend.
A starless night, an unkindness of ravens, lands along the wall.
As long as he has a shield to hide behind him, I wouldn't take him head on. Try to get behind him or above him.
Someone out there. What was that? Show yourself.
3, 2, 1.
It's clear.
More stealth kills, abilities, equipment, upgrades can be unlocked.
Look at all the guards patrolling near that tower. And see those antennas on the roof? It must be a communication tower. There could be something inside to help us find Karajan.
Music for the game works on 4-layered interactive system other than the challenge rooms, which had its own procedural generated system. Each world had its own ambient bed track, and then 3 layers above it that would react to various levels of attention the player may have attractive. And this way, the music is very informative of what's going on. The reactive levels work in a way that drowns out the ambient bed and modulates based on whether the player is being spotted, chased, or hidden, but still hunted. On certain levels, we would force the music to bump up a level and stay there if we wanted to keep a sense of urgency going. Access the communication tower without being detected. Kill 6 of guards. Fill 5 dumpsters. Okay. It's a ninja.
Must be something around here. Hey, I heard you were on the ninja raid. You bet. Here, I cut a trophy off of one of them. Wanna see?
We're picking up a bogey on the perimeter. Get the count ready to evacuate just in case. Oh, and with that distraction
If we get our hands on a tracking device, it'll lead us straight to Karajan.
This ended up being one of the longest levels in the game, and it has a large number of guards. At one point it was longer, even more broken up. After listening to this bit, the screen just faded to black and the player appeared later on. This was literally the only place in the entire game where we did this, so we removed this strange teleport. That meant we had to stitch together the space between those two areas though, and put at least a small something here.
Heads up, dog. Hey! Boston, will report if I regain contact.
Look at that.
The original art for the ninja was going to be traditional animated frame by frame. It looked amazing, but it led to complications during development with memory budgets and trying to cleanly attach effects like the grappling hook to specific parts of the ninja character. We ended up animating the ninja using a pieceware build after all, which eventually allowed us to create several radically different costumes with special abilities for the player to pick and choose between.
One of our scouts left behind some. The smoke gives you cover from enemies. It can also disrupt their laser beams, letting you sneak right through their traps. There. He's headed to the tracking device. If we follow him, he'll lead us straight to it.
We didn't want to do a lot of one-off mission type script sequences, particularly just because we wouldn't have time to do them right, but mostly because it didn't jive with our notion of player-directed gameplay. One of the few expectations is where players couldn't be seen, which we thought would be interesting. It would challenge the player to stay unseen instead of just fighting or fleeing if detected. Ideally, players would learn some ways to stay concealed if they could apply a layer, even if they weren't being forced to stay undetected. Usually stealth game, but where you insta-fail if you're seen don't work, but I think we pulled this off. However, it was probably one of the most challenging things to implement, just due to all the special cases and conditions that had to be handled. Jason, the siren responsible for this level, probably spent more time on this one sequence than I did for the entire other levels, and he managed to get this to work, let alone for it to be as great as it ended up being. As a testament to his talent and dedication, seriously, there were so many bugs.
Watch the door. You, come with me. Watch the door. You, come with me. Hey! Hey, eyes on you.
Found us. Now we'll never get the tracker.
Watch the door. You, come with me. Crap. I didn't.
The final sequence after you steal the tracking device was basically taken wholesale from the vertical slice demo. We created 6 months or so in development. That was versus was just 6 discontinued contestless encounters who were able to repurpose at least 3 of those encounters, including this one. I actually don't remember what the other bits end up. Cool.
The elevator's blocking the exit. They need to move it out of the way.
The last 9 haiku in this world linked together to tell a story of a heroic mission undertaken by the clan, events where the blah 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 blah. It's okay. How do you get this one? Oh, smoke bomb.
Good work. Now he can't get away from us.
Kelly, would you care for a sip of this Riesling Schwarzlies? It belonged to Otto von Bismarck. I traded a cargo of body armor just to see how it would taste.
So, how is it?
A bit tart.
My men in the field were waiting for that body armor. Half of them were cut to ribbons.
So, this was more expensive than I thought.
Look, we've got a problem. These ninjas,
These peasants! They are no match for us.
maybe so, but they pack a punch. This one with the flashy tattoos. He's slipping past our lines. No drama.
He's just one man. And he should only need one bullet. I want you to take care of him. Personally.
Yes, sir.
What? Okay.
That's the tower.
Good game.